Hey everyone, today we're going to look at This Is the Day, Psalm 118 by Bobby Fischer. We're going to play the song first, and then we'll do more or less a walkthrough tutorial for the guitar, what I'm looking for with the band, and my vocals in the way, and my particular fashion of playing the song. This is going to be a rehearsal video, first and foremost, for my group that is doing the song for Easter. However, I do think that there's a lot of application for other groups and other churches that may want to play this song and don't have at their disposal the full ornamentation that is on the studio recording. So we'll talk more about the song at the end. So let's go ahead and get to playing. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. Give thanks to the Lord, our God is good, whose love endures forever. Let all the children of Israel sing, God's love endures forever. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. The right hand of God has struck with power, the right hand of God is exalted. I shall not die, but I shall live and proclaim the works of the Lord. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. The stone which the builders rejected has become the foundation of our house. By the Lord has this been done, how wonderful to behold. This is the day, this is the day, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice, let us rejoice, let us rejoice and be glad. Let us rejoice and be glad. Let's unpack this song. It's a big song. It's energetic. It's happy. It is proclaiming to the ends of the earth that Jesus has risen from the dead today. That's what this song is saying. Okay, we're going to make it musical by making variances to the type of accompaniment that we're going to do, or how many singers do a verse, or when we bring in other instruments and when we cut other instruments out. That's how we're going to make this song have different peaks into it and make it do more than just be one loud four to the floor to the end. Okay, so for the beginning, what I'm looking for is for the intro, first refrain, final ending, not final ending, the outro. I want quarter note chucks. Okay. So, and we're going to do these punches. So notice that I have my pinky kind of on that 3rd to 4th fret line. There's not really a whole lot of harmonics right there. If you go too close to the 4th fret, you might get those harmonics. So kind of stay closer to the 3rd, 4th fret line. Don't do the palm mutes from here because all you're going to get is this. And that's not what we're trying to get. We want this whole, all 6 strings as part of our percussion element that we're going to do. So as we play our D, we're going to go, sorry, my iPad's starting to get quiet there. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 1. 1 and, I believe. And let's talk about how I'm going to play those chords. There's that D over F sharp. I do want you to play all the D over F sharps in the song by wrapping your thumb over. Okay, try to learn to wrap your thumb over. It's already there. Don't try to do this, or right. Maybe you're going to try to play your D like this. Don't do that. Just stick to learning how to use your thumb, like Tommy Emmanuel would say. Use your thumb. For the G, I don't really need you to play a whole G. You can, but we're just popping the chord itself. We're popping that bass note, right? So don't worry about the chord as much as just hitting that is what I'm after, more or less. Now the D that follows the G, I have a particular way I want you to play that. So imagine you're playing a D here. Take off your index and your middle finger. You're going to up strum, and when you're going to down strum, you're going to resolve those 2 fingers back to the A and the F sharp. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. All right, that's how we're going to do that. When it comes to the when it comes to the refrain, let's take a look here. The D over F sharps we've already covered. The G's and the D's we've already covered. The B minor. Okay, we're not going to play a formal B minor. You're allowed to. I'm not going to tell you not to. But I think that instead of reshaping your whole hand for a B minor or a B minor 7, since we're doing this, we don't really need it. What we need is the bass note, right? See, look how I did that. D, that's my A over C sharp. All I did, I'm still playing a D. All I did was take my middle finger off, do that. It doesn't even matter. I can leave my middle finger there. I'm just playing a D over C sharp. It's that idea of doing that walking bass line. That's what we're trying to do. So it's really a G over B the way I'm playing it. Okay. I'm not doing this G over B. I'm doing this one. Easy one. It kind of looks like an E minor 7, adding that pinky there. But what makes it different than an E minor 7 is that I'm making sure that the B is my lowest pitch. Okay, that is my bass pitch, not the E. If it was not on the E, it would be an E minor 7. So make sure you hit the B as your lowest pitch. All right. When it's the A over C sharp before the B minor 7, that's the 3rd measure before the first ending. I'm not going to play an A over C sharp at all. I'm going to play an A sharp by itself. So I'll go, let us rejoice. It's a little salty, but it does what I'm after. It's more or less trying to add a little diminished flavor to it. You're going to do D walks down to B minor your entire life. Change it up, have some fun, right? So I'm going to do that every time in that refrain spot. Okay, that covers the first, that covers all the refrain and the intro. What makes the verses different is we're not going to do the chucks. We're going to open it up. All right, so this is the day that the Lord has made. And now let's unpack that G, A to D. It's really not complicated. Just like I said earlier, you're going to play G, A, and D their whole life. Let's find a new way to play it. You can do this. This is the day that the Lord has made. And if that's what you're comfortable with, I'm not worried about it. But if you want to try to have some fun, all right, I'm playing a G6. It's if you played an F major 7, like you play C, bring your middle and ring finger up one set of strings. You get that F major 7. Ride it up to the 3rd fret where your index is on the 3rd fret. That gives you the G. Slide it up 2 more, index on the 5th. That gives you your A. And when you ride it up this time, I want you to make sure you got that. You're playing both of those with the index. Don't do that. That's gorgeous, right? It's beautiful, but not in this context. You know, this is a drive and hammer home song. We don't really need it to be pretty right there. We're trying to go right. Let's do it one more time. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. All right, the glad part. All right, we're going to talk about it in verse 1, and we're going to talk about it for verse 2. And let's go ahead and talk about them both together. The only difference between verse 1 is that it doesn't hold that G sharp diminished 7 chord like it does in verse 2. So verse 1 goes glad. Verse 2 goes glad. Okay, that's the only difference between the two. This is more for the bass and the keys. Don't get caught up in trying to do this thick. Don't get caught up there. It's too much too fast. I mean, we're at halftime at 92 beats a minute. If you try to play that in quarter notes, it's just too much, and it gets thick, and it's going to sound choppy and muddy, and you might enjoy playing it, but your listeners and your congregation aren't going to enjoy it the same way unless you are extremely good at doing it, and maybe you are, and that's your prerogative. But for me and for the majority of players that I play with, those diminished chords, they're usually passing chords, and this is a passing chord, so it doesn't need all the attention. The root G sharp gives everything you need. That gives everything we're after. The keys and the bass are going to do it. So what I'm going to do is, let us rejoice and be... Oh, I'm sorry. This is for verse 1. Let us rejoice and be glad. Okay? If I was looking at verse 2, I would sing, God's love endures forever. This is the day. That's really the only difference between the two. Once you hit that G, just slide those 2 fingers up. Don't worry about being like, if you can do that too, that's fine. But don't try within a split second to throw in that G sharp diminished chord. Let your keyboard player do it. Let him do it. It's a lot easier for a piano player to do that than it is for the guitar. Don't worry about that C over E sharp at the end either. It's pointless. It's just this walk back up to it, and in reality, it's not needed, okay, in our scenario. Verse 3, there is nothing to talk about. It is simple. There's no surprises. You do get the G, A, D. You don't get this, so you don't have anything to worry about there. When it comes to verse 4, the only thing that's unique about it is you get a pair of railroad tracks in the middle line over the word house. If you're not familiar with what a railroad track is, it's a hard stop, okay, of the vocals and the instrumentation. Everything still stays in time and all that kind of stuff. It's not a fermata where everything freezes. It's not a grand pause where you would lose time. It's a hard stop. So we're going to go, come the foundation of our house by the Lord, right? That's all it is. But we want to add a little bit of something right there because why not? It's fun. The bass drum is going to do a 4 to the floor, and both the guitar, keys, drums, and bass are all going to do the punch. By the Lord, we're all going to do that. What not everyone's going to do is fill in that, 1 3/4 of a measure after house. So we'll sing, come the foundation of our house. I'm going to do that. And you don't have to, but I like it. It's kind of like a calls it back to the beginning. If you guys think it's better to do a hard stop, that's fine. But there's a lot of energy driving, and people are going to be tapping their feet. Just imagine your congregation is singing along and your choir is having a great time playing this song. and all of a sudden you do this hard stop, and they're like, okay, they're gonna keep counting with their feet anyway. So there's nothing better than to just kind of add a little something by the Lord, an open strum right there, right? By the Lord has this been done, how wonderful to behold. This is the day, and we're back to that eighth note drive that we talked about earlier. Okay, let's look at the final ending. There's nothing to this final ending. The B minor is going to be an actual B minor, because when we hit the final ending, the difference for this final ending, even though it's part of the refrain, is we're going to open strum it like we do the verses instead of doing the eighth note checks that we were just doing. So for example, we might go, let us rejoice and be glad. Let us rejoice. See, I'm open strumming, right? And then we're going to go back to the chorus. That's how we'll finish the song out. On that second measure of the final ending, where it goes glad. Okay, don't worry about that. Let your keyboard player, let your drummer worry about it. Your drummer's not going to worry about it. Let your keyboard player and bass player worry about that, because it's just a walk. And even if you don't do it, it's not that big of a deal. Let us rejoice and be glad. You can do let the A go, right? You can do the first one. And then let us rejoice. It's not that big of a deal to do all these little chords. I think a lot of times volunteer guitar players will, that aren't doing this for a living type of thing, they get caught up and they don't read this music all the time, or you read tabs a lot, or you read chords. You think you're supposed to play every single chord, and that's true. Like, they're there for a reason. But you got to remember that a lot of times with these church songs, they'll kind of run these chord progressions kind of like through a generator. They'll say, okay, look, here's everything. Here's all the sounds that are present there, and this is what it looks like it's doing. And they'll put in all these passing chords that really just sometimes they're nice if you're able to do them, or they're nice when you pick and choose which ones you want to do. But it's a lot, especially when you're strumming with a pick. Sometimes when you're playing fingerstyle, you get a little bit more freedom to kind of maybe do some walking notes, or do like the first and the third, or the sixth and the root kind of thing when you're trying to do those passing notes, and you get something really pretty and musical. But when you're strumming, you're just hitting the guitar, right? You're just hitting these strings and getting the full sonority at once, and it doesn't work that well to do it all and at one moment. So don't get caught up in all those little extra passing chords. It's too fast to really notice it, and you've got other instruments that you're probably playing with that can do them. If you're just a guitar, then don't worry about it. I mean, if you can do it, that's great, but don't lose sleep over it. It's all I'm trying to say. I know myself, in times when I was growing up playing, I would try and focus on playing all those chords all the time, and it took me for a good chunk of time to realize I didn't need those chords. I can just pull some of those chords out, and now the tune flows and it's smoother, and I'm able to play with more quality than I am as I'm trying to focus on playing every little note. So I find with church music that very much tends to be the case. So enjoy this song, share it with your friends, share it with your music director, share it with any music worship pastor at other churches. This is a great Easter song. I think everybody would enjoy it. Last little tidbit notes. Vocally, I know we're not singing it exactly right. We tend to sing it more like the studio recording lyrics. A lot of times, again, they'll generate a type of rhythm that's close to what's the composer or the artist is singing in the studio recording, but they're very much not the same. And it can be challenging to try to pick which one you want to do. If you're by yourself, you can do whichever one you want, but the more people you have, you got to kind of pick or choose which one. At our church, with our program, we try to copy the recording more, because if somebody listens to it and they learn that song and they hear us play it, they're more likely to sing it like the recording than they are to sing it like the sheet music if it's different. So it is harder if you have a group of 15, and like we'll have a large group for this song, but we're going to split the verses up. We'll probably only have verse 4 with everybody, and we'll let those other verses be solos. That way they have more freedom to do what they want. If they want to change a pitch, go up one, go down, jump up the octave, or sing up the fifth or something, it gives us more room to do all that. So enjoy the song. When it comes to the drums, I want you to do the punches with us, right? In that intro, you can do the 4 to the floor, do the punches in the first refrain, the final ending, and the intro. But when it comes to the actual song, I don't really want this because then we're just getting muddy and we're trying to compete with the guitar, and I don't want that either. So think, this is the day, this is the day, and go from there. I'm not a great drummer. I know what I'm looking for in drums, and I can achieve playing those types of drums. So if you are able to do more than that in a way that's tasteful, by all means, you have the freedom to do it. But as a starting point, don't try to compete with the guitar doing this with the eighth notes on the hi-hats. When you hit and you don't need to do the punches with them either. The punches are nice, like I said, on the intro, first refrain, final ending, but it's a little much to do it with them every time. So kind of keep it there and pull the tune back, because everybody else is going to want to push forward. By you holding this beat down, you're going to keep everybody from running through the end of the kind of racing through the stop sign, so to speak. When you hit the verses, if you're using the hi-hat on the refrain, maybe open up to a ride, because we're open up to strums. This is the day that the Lord has made. So you have that option to kind of open it up there and use what you have at your disposal to kind of have some fun with it. Sorry it was a long tutorial, but I wanted to make sure I covered everything for rehearsals. So have a great day, everyone.